All right, good day, guys. How you going? I'm here with my mate Rob. Once again, we're going to comment on the Tour Down Under. Couldn't pass this one up, Rob, could we? It's tournament basically in my backyard.
It's 2 down under to pass up.
It's going to be a little bit different, Viddy, than what the fans are normally used to. You want to explain kind of the difference?
Yeah, obviously the fans are used to us being hilarious in short form.
Right.
You know, it's more of a sprint of comedy, but this one's more of a marathon. We're going to sit back, relax, enjoy this round, and say what we're going to say.
Just shine the jandals till they sparkle, aren't we, Rob? I'm surprised Jeremy Koling's in this. Do you think it's just a just like MVP paid the tour like a lot of money to sponsor, to show him in the video since he's freshly sponsored by them?
Maybe. Well, it said -10 then, and is it like top trumps? So that's his stats. You know, out of 10, he's
I don't know
-10.
who he voted for. It actually, I think that's his score. Somehow, Germ has allowed himself to get 10 under par. He's certainly not going to be able to keep up for the last round. He is pretty old.
And a bit too tall. There's a point where it gets into the ridiculous, the caricature.
We've got Ezra Robinson in the front, followed somehow by Big Germ, and then Robert Burridge and Aaron, the silly goose, Gossage. Luke Humphrey, shout out my mate Luke. Did you see his name there on 5th position?
Interesting last name, because obviously, famously, last names can be linked to professions. So obviously Baker, Butcher. I wonder what Humphreys did. Humphreys. I don't know. There must be some dark history in that family.
I think those are called aptonyms. I hope Luke's isn't an aptonym. That would be flipping awkward, actually.
Speaking of awkward names, I'm not a big fan of Ezra Robinson being at Discraft, because we now have 2 Discraft Ezras. So I feel like we're going to need a nickname in there, you know, Big Easy, Ezman.
Easy Ray. That's what
Easy
they used
Ray.
to call me in university. It looks like the wind is absolutely whipping around on hole 1. It's a pretty daunting drive.
Whip.
Oh, this one's going for a ride. Threw it deep into the Puku pocket, didn't he, Rob?
That disc was so far left, it's making homemade hummus and weaving various rugs.
Hemp rugs for its little house. Jeremy Koling, in presumably what's going to be the last competitive round of his life, the last, dying trumpets of the big elephant.
Well, they say a lion is most dangerous as it's dying, so maybe this is his last hurrah. The irony, though, of going to Team MVP, obviously standing for most valuable player, and then, having that on his back, that's not lost on me.
Oh, wow. That was bigger than a Hungy on Watangi Day. Robert missed. Do you reckon he saw where the hole was?
Based on the first 3 shots, I have no idea where this basket is or what you have to do. And you know what? That's me. You're playing disc golf normally anyway, so I'm just going to assume they know what they're doing.
Well, these guys are meant to be the best at this tournament. So how bloody awful do you think the rest of the guys, are playing? If these are the best 4 and they just are trash. Which I don't know if they're trash, but I mean, we can only extrapolate from the shots we've seen so far.
I'll tell you what, this will decide. Are they trash in 3, 2, 1?
Yeah.
They're trash.
Trash.
Yeah.
We could probably just stop the recording right now and maybe find coverage with some more talented players.
You know what, let's stick with it for another few minutes, see what happens. Now, Ezra has just... as I mentioned, Simon Discraft, and he's got a new logo, and it's the peach. Oh.
Sorry to interrupt, Rob.
No, go ahead.
Absolutely. I think he might not be trash. He might be amazing. It's hard to tell. We've got one data point on the trash side and one data point on the amazing side. So I guess right now he's just kind of a meh. All right, here goes Jim. Ah, yeah, he's so bad. He's so washed. Oh, wow. Just the disc golf gods, just remembering all the great things that he's done in the past and shining on him there for a second.
Well, I saw him pocket a couple of New Zealand single dollars. So maybe he's sort of given the sneaky handshake to the spotters.
Robert's got to feel so embarrassed after his drive. Where he looked down to the right and he's like, oh, it's down there.
Down where? Down under?
Under.
Dun, dun, dun.
Underwear. A lot of commentators will look at that putt and say, oh, he's just laying up. He missed. They're trash.
That's a putt indicative of what I would do. So you know what? If I'm trying there, so was he.
Jimmy's not making this. Not in a million years of days. Too much wind. Wow. You know, my mate Tyler actually used to work for DGA, who they do a lot of basket manufacturing. And he told me these Helix baskets from RPM. I asked him, how do they catch? How do they perform? And Tyler said, I think they look really cool.
Oh, they look sick. Yeah.
Yeah. Hole 2 is a par 4. It's 552 feet. But we're in New Zealand, so let's just disregard everyone's feet. 168 meters up the hill into the Kookaburra bushes.
Yes, Kookaburra bushes. Yes, yeah, that's definitely a thing. Now, would we say he's the sexier Robinson?
The fact that I don't even know another Robinson proves that that's true.
Well, Isaac, right? World champ. So, you know, we've got the world champ Robinson and Ezra Robinson. Who's hotter? Down in the comments. Who's the sexier Robinson? We want to hear it.
And also, who's hotter down in the comments? Jeremy yanked it. He's very confused. The dementia might even be starting to set in. You can see the look, just like, what are we doing? Where am I?
Fun fact, in New Zealand, Big Germ is actually double the height, because obviously hobbits live in New Zealand, so he's doubly as tall, which makes him a freak of nature. In between rounds, he's been carted around multiple zoos and shows.
So he's dealing with all that too. He's got the pressure of the tourney, but also just the emotional distress that he's under from all the harassment from the locals.
That's the thing. When he landed in New Zealand, people thought the Lord of the Rings films were coming to life and a cave troll had come to ransack the island. It was scary times. It was in the papers.
Ooh, the last throws of the dying lion. Absolutely a rare, perfect shot from Jeremy.
Going back to what I was saying earlier, Ezra has branded himself the Peach Pirate with his new move to Discrafton.
Can that mean anything else other than what it sounds like? You know, let's just be upfront about it, because he certainly isn't. It sounds like something inappropriate.
If I went out and started accusing you of being a peach pirate out of context, I'm not walking away without a black eye. So
what context could it be? I mean, nobody's stealing shipments of peaches.
What would the worst fruit to steal if you were going to steal a fruit be? Maybe bananas? They go off too quickly. They're going to go brown.
Yeah. So. Bananas are like, no, not ripe, not ripe, not ripe. And then at like 3 a.m., after you've had them for 3 weeks, they're like, hey, mate, you got 2.5 hours to eat me, or else I'm going to be brown and black in the morning.
Oh, you're sleeping? Oh, I'll let you sleep. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'll be fine in the morning. Then you go and it's just rotten, nasty mess.
Anyway, talk about rotten, nasty messes. Big Germ isn't actually doing too bad to start this round. You know, there's always time for him to muck up, as we say here in the UK, though.
Well, I'm not even putting any emotional investment into the birdie that he got there, because it's like my second daughter, Elizabeth, I told her when she was very young, I'm probably not going to invest too much, because out of all of them, I feel like you're the one who's going to let me down, and I don't want to get hurt again. So it's the same thing with Jeremy here. I'm like, not even holding out any hopes that he's going to hold it together for the entire round.
The guy hasn't really shown what he's made of. You know, his USDGC win was because of weather, they had to cancel it. Is he really a US champion? You know, it's always up for debate. You know, Yuli and Sexton, they're really pushing the bar on Jomez.
They've got credentials, right? And they're great commentators. Yeah. Jeremy's commentating, frankly, is lackluster at best.
I think, you know what? I think he gives it a year, and then when it doesn't work out, I think he needs to go and work for, Walmart or Target, helping old ladies reach things on top shelves. I feel like that's really his calling.
He would be a pretty good to maybe above mediocre receipt highlighter at Costco.
I mean, once it was magical, but I'm not going to rush back.
You just need a tall guy with a yellow highlighter to stand there and like smile at the kids and just kind of like draw doodles on the receipt on your way out. And I feel like Jim has a future in something like that.
Not too sure, because highlights aren't really something that Jim is used to.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, that's out of bounds for sure. That was way too high. Too high. Ooh, it's stuck.
Stickier than a peach pirate on a Saturday.
Now, the wind was blowing at 30 miles an hour. And then it looks like it's just pretty much stopped. What's that about?
Well, they're in a little cove, so maybe they're being protected by the trees, or Big Germ is standing behind them, and his sheer mass and height and size is just blocking the wind. So
you're right, actually. You can see the wind behind Germ is blowing and the trees in front of him are not. That's just science.
And you know what? For every putt that he makes, he does that little jog up to the basket. That's cardio for the year. So, it's...
At his age, he needs to be more worried about just the total steps that he has left in his life and not wanting to expend those too quickly. Hole 4 is 200 and... sorry. I'm so used to living in the States and like giving the Americans everything they want all the time, which is kind of their vibe. Hole 4 is 71 meters, Rob.
71 meters, so that is about... 62 kangaroos.
See, and there you go, using American units of measurement again. It's like, this hole's 12 Jeremys.
Magnum 17. I really hope that's not a nickname.
I think he might be sponsored by the condom company. That's the only... Or maybe the gun company. No matter which one of those it is, we're not going to be promoting it here on the show, so we'll just ignore that.
Or either or, you hope it doesn't shoot off too early.
This hole was kind of plagiarized from Winthrop, hole 7.
Yeah, maybe this is like Windthrob. What's Mazuka? Muzuka.
Mazuka. Oh, well, and Zukum.
Uzukum.
Zukum is actually a flightless bird. It's a flightless kiwi bird. There's a lot of lore about the Uzukum bird on this hole. How he sits on top of the basket, and if you make anything outside the circle, you can go up and he blesses you. And the locals say that, that can determine how well you putt for the rest of your year, actually. Jeremy
speaking of birdies,
he must have been blessed by the Uzukum bird, because he certainly doesn't have like the natural ability to be putting like this. It's got to be something supernatural. See, there it is.
Well, Azukan birds don't like other types of birds. So obviously
such
goose.
As geese. Oh, an absolute middle feather from the Uzukan bird to goose there.
Magnum PI, the little tap in. There you go.
Wow, and against all odds, I think Jeremy is tied for the lead right now.
I'm going to say that it's not going to stick. I don't see him as a top competitor, and I see the other guys here as top competitors. Something's going wrong here, and it's going to have to level out at some point. Karma, the world, the universe. It needs to balance out. It's not going to stick.
Wow, look at this ad, Rob. We got like shots of famous golfers like Steve there from the PDGA, and then it's interspersed with AI. That's obviously not a real person. It's AI versions of those famous golfers. That's a thought-provoking ad from PDGA. I'd like to double back around to something, if you don't mind, before we continue on much further in the round. Bananas suck. Like, we gave it a lot of hate, but I feel like we could do better.
I think bananas are great. They come in their own packaging. They have a flavor profile depending on ripeness.
Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but you couldn't be any more wrong about bananas. Mine is more based in science, and everyone's always like, patting bananas on the back because of potassium, but nobody in the entire world knows what a potassium is or what it does. So bananas have a lot of them. Great. Flipping great. It doesn't matter at all because nobody knows what potassium could improve your eyesight or it could cause cancer. There's no way to know.
I feel like there is one way to know, and that's you eat all of the bananas, I eat none of the bananas, and we'll see who gets the worst diarrhea.
I don't want cancer though, Rob. I'm not going to risk it.
It's a risk I'm willing to take on your behalf.
We should probably also throw out a disclaimer about all of the hate that we've given to Jeremy so far this video. And again, I feel like we could probably have done better with that. It's not anything personal. Like when I say he's a talentless, washed up wreck, there's nothing in... I like Jeremy Koling. Like he's a fine person. I just think that he doesn't have any prospects for future skill, talent, credibility, name of the game, anything that he could bring or offer in any way. And I kind of hate him, personally.
Yeah, I think that's important to bring up. As journalists, as commentators, we need to be objective. The facts are he's crap. Now, one thing I will say is in the idea of being objective, I don't think his personality is great either. I feel like he's a bit boring. I feel like he can go on a bit too much. And you know what? I'm going to say it. Looks, he ain't no Kate Moss.
He's he's a London 4 and maybe a Kansas City 6, but he's not winning any tournaments in that regard either, right?
I imagine if I came to you and said, hey, Ray, I've got an orangutan here. Let's shave it and teach it how to throw a frisbee. The outcome will be Jeremy Koling.
This one looks fun. 114 meters. There's a lot of ups and downs on this.
Yeah, obviously ups being we get to see incredibly talented players like Ezra Robinson, Robert Burridge. Downs, obviously, we are going to have to watch people like Big Germ play disc golf for.
Oh, here he is again. Some people in the comments might feel like we're being a bit harsh, but we're just calling it like we see it. Right now, we see this big galoof just yeeting a disc out of bounds and being surprised for some reason.
Oh no, why did it go over there? Well, guess what, Germ? You threw it over there. Deal with the consequences.
The Mana Mound saved him on that one. Or as we call them, the Ferns of Fortune.
Now, I like to call Bobby Burridge Robert Porridge because, sometimes he throws it too left, sometimes he throws it too right. But if he gets it just right, that's the Goldilocks shot. That was awful. However, in this case,
Robert
terrible.
Burridge's father actually standing. I don't know if you knew that. The gentleman in the grey shirt there is his dad.
Although, speaking of Goldilocks, Ezra looking like he's getting it just right, I was going to say. But I have no idea where that went, actually. It looked great, but I have no idea. You tell me.
He could be doing the Kakapo challenge, which is a local... and sorry if I'm getting too, into the local lore, the inside stuff, but I think a lot of the viewers want to know about New Zealand culture as well.
Yeah.
The Kakapo challenge, so right there at the base of that tree, in that bush, there's actually going to be anywhere from 7 to 75 hand-carved wooden sculptures of the tui bird. So
yes.
if you carve a tui bird by hand and leave it at the base of that Kakapo tree, it's said to bring good luck.
Okay, and the relevance to disc golf is?
Well, he threw it under that tree, so he's probably just dropping off his carving.
Okay, dropping off my carving. That is another euphemism that I will be using at any given moment.
I had to drop off 2 or 3 carvings right before this recording, actually.
So it's the Kakapo, not Kickapoo, because obviously that could be misleading and that could lead to some quite nasty shoe-based incidences.
Yeah, Kakapo, which is a lizard. It's an invisible, camouflaged lizard that lives in New Zealand. Wow, Rob, that was personal, that part.
So all these guys just tapping out, and that's really what Big Germ should probably do for his career.
This is a beautiful, beautiful landscape for this hole. 125 meters straight downhill.
So Ray, obviously you now live in a castle in Norway. Does this make you pine for home, a little bit homesick?
Norway. I like living in lots of different places. Now, Jeremy Koling, I am absolutely shuddered right now, Rob, because if you look at the scoreboard down at the bottom, you're going to see that he's the most negative, which is certainly true of his personality, but not usually true of his score. Jeremy's at, somehow we missed it. He's 13 down to Ezra's 12 down. It won't last, but man, it's wild to see.
Maybe. So obviously we're Tour Down Under, so things are being flipped upside down. So maybe by some strange logic, obviously Big Germ, we all know, is normally the worst. Maybe he's somehow the best. You know, I don't believe that myself, but it's looking to be true.
That would explain
sadly
why these four guys are on the lead card. These guys are actually DFL for the whole tournament, but since we're down under, everything's opposite.
Yeah, maybe it's like highest score wins.
Didn't hook up. How is your nan, by the way, Rob?
You know what? She had the eye removed. They reckon they can get another one back in by next Tuesday. It's not going to be the right colour, but it will have a few fun features, QR code reader, and some other things. So, yeah, she's excited for that.
It'd be cool for her to be able to read QR codes without having to like get the phone out, just right there in the eye. She's had a lot of work done, if you don't mind me saying. She's a beautiful woman. I'm very excited to see the new eye. You don't. I'll just have her text me a picture of it later.
Well, she'll be able to take that photo with the new eye. It's an amazing bit of tech, Ray.
Wow.
You won't believe it.
We've got 2 holes left on the front 9. Do you think there's any chance that Jeremy Koling is still under par by the time we're done? He's probably going to get a couple quads.
A couple of big quads like he has on his ungainly legs.
Yeah, awkward looking legs. Right.
Yeah, it's almost like when you see a sort of a spider monkey trying to sort of walk for the first time. Ungainly and kind of sickly looking.
It's like if a giraffe and a spider monkey had a baby, and the baby had gigantism.
And lacked a personality. I don't know if you're clocking, but when they cut to the catch cam, there's a couple of lovely looking pears on the tree. Didn't see it there, but keep an eye out. There's some lovely looking fruit knocking around this course.
It does kind of seem to be a fruity course, to be honest. Another lackluster attempt from Robbo.
It's almost like he doesn't want it enough. I'm going to go and say, he's not trying. And
none of these guys are trying. It's like, from here, I'd be trying to make this, but these guys are just like, I'm going to lay up and take my par, take my bogey, right?
Do you reckon because obviously Big Germ's just, that is phenomenal. Whoa. Forget what I was saying. Now that's a putt right there.
Did you know that Ezra's actually using the DGA sonar? That's a sonar, Rob.
Is he? Good lad.
It's a DGA putter. Now, I don't get any monetary benefit from mentioning it, but my mate Tyler might, so I figured I'd better call it out.
Well, it's better than that disc, whatever it is. But the sonar's great. I throw mine. I don't putt with mine. But yeah, sonar's clearly magical. Now, they are weird-shaped baskets. They look cool, but I feel like there's a strangeness that I wouldn't be able to get used to.
My wife said that about me after we were married for a couple of weeks. She said something very, very close to that. Just like performance-wise, not what I expected. I'm not super happy with it, but pretty fun to look at all the interesting shapes.
Yeah, I think it's the 45-degree, aggressive angle to the left, which really threw her off. All creatures great and small. Emphasis on the
hole
on the
9
small.
is an 89 meter, very boring end, if you ask me. Would you?
Would I? Would
Ask
I?
me.
Would I? I would.
Would you ask me, though, about whether it's a boring hole to end on or not?
Ray, hole 9. Pretty straight. Would you say it's boring?
I would. I would say that. It's boring. That's what I say.
Now, obviously, Burridge is choosing to play with AirPods in. I don't blame him because obviously that allows you to chew yourself out, and also the added benefit of not having to talk or listen to Jeremy Koling for the entire round. So tactically, I think that's a great play.
200 pounds on the fact that there's nothing playing in those AirPods. They're absolutely just a social defense mechanism.
See, I thought you were talking 200 pounds and still talking about Big Germ. And I was going to say that's a bit too far. Quite frankly, it's 180, 190 tops.
He always has just such a stupid look on his face, doesn't he? When he's... Look at him.
And we get it. You designed that logo. Yes, it's a lion. But twice on the hat and the T-shirt, it's a bit much.
Excessive. It would do my heart good just to see him just absolutely flub one. Just like right into that tree or something.
Well, the guy is like a bottom tier forehand player, so we're not expecting much.
I don't think I realised until this commentary just how much I hated Big Germ just my whole life. It's always been kind of disguised by affection and appreciation, but finally I'm able to see my true feelings for him.
Well, obviously, Yuli and Nate, amazing guys, and I feel like maybe you hate to see it. You hate to see it.
What's the opposite of Schadenfreude, Rob?
Schadenfreude.
Where you like you.
Yeah, that's Freudenschad.
Oh, Freudenschad. Yeah. That's where you're sad about somebody doing well. I'm having sort of an ecclesiastical reaction to Jeremy making so many lucky putts. Who are we looking at? Someone right now?
Yeah, Burridge is buried deep in the bush.
Oh, he's burridged in there, isn't he, Rob?
Burridged.
Okay. I see a shoe. Look, do you see the shoe, Rob? Down in the bottom right?
Yeah, that's a one-legged booby, native to this part of the world.
Interesting. I'm surprised they showed that. You think you would blur it out?
Well, there's an X amount of seconds you can show on telly without having to blur, and I feel like they just snuck under the radar.
Wow, these guys are falling apart.
Yeah, they're doing what I call germing it.
Well, that's going to be the end of the front 9. Ezra Robinson's 13 now. Jeremy Koling is winning, which, in spite of the fact that he's a big doofus, is pretty impressive.
I'm angry.
I'm kind of sad about it because, we're trying to watch a good story, and this is not a good story. Wow. That is not the name you expect to see on top of any leaderboard except, least favorite disc golfers, higher scores, etc.
If there's a higher power, and I truly believe there is, Germ is going to mess up. There cannot be a world where he outskills, let's face it, quality disc golfers. And I'm not happy about it.
Well said. Well, join us for the back 9. We'll try and keep Jim off of it as much as possible, and we'll watch Ezra's victory lap, which is presumably what's going to happen.
We're doing our back 9 of the New Zealand Open.
Rob.
Yeah?
Hold on. Something's happened.
What's happened, Ray?
You remember from the front 9, Jeremy?
Oh,
we were
the
talking
worst.
About him.
Yeah, he's just that guy, man. Gets my.
So he called me, and he heard we were doing commentary on the New Zealand stuff, and he asked if he could jump in with us. And I kind of panicked, and I don't know if he's watched the front 9 yet. He's requesting. Here he is. Let's
just.
Hi.
Hey, Rob and Ray. Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely honored. Let me just be the first to say, I just love watching you play, mate.
It means a lot to me.
I would say it's the legitimate USDGC win in my book. The other winners I think scraped by, but you're my US champion. I love you so much, man.
Overcoming
Thanks so much.
adversity.